So it's time we move in to talk about Hawkeye episodes 1 through 4. Now, if you're watching this on the YouTube breakout, we just did an actual full podcast. This is what this is from. That episode's out on the YouTube channel, and you can find it also on podcast feeds as well. So we're going to be moving in to specifically zero in off our random tangents we just went in about Ghostbusters and DC Universe and Phantom
Ugh.
fucking Stranger, voiced by DB Woodside. Oh, so cool. But we're going to talk just about Hawkeye episodes 1 through 4. So, Fusion. And again, if you're watching and if you're just finding this on the YouTube breakout, I'm MrWartburg. He's Mr. Fusion. Everything's on the screen. You can find our Twitter handles there. What'd you think about Hawkeye episodes 1 through 4 so far?
I love this show. I really, really love this show. Um, it's probably one of the better Marvel shows that we've seen. I think we both are in agreement here that Daredevil Senior Season 1 was probably tops on the list
Yes.
for us.
Followed
I,
closely by
I,
Daredevil season 3 for
yeah,
me.
Season 3 was amazing, but Season 1 was just phenomenal
Yeah.
from start to finish. The character development, the slow introduction
Yeah.
to, ironically, we're talking about him again, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin. Um, I really love this show. Now, my only complaint is we're getting 6 episodes, so we have just a couple weeks left of this show. This really should have been a 10 episode season, just because of I really think that we're probably going to rush a little bit on Clint Barton's story to wrap things up in the next 2 episodes because we have a lot to introduce the next 2 episodes. Um, I thought this probably should have been a 10 episode season just to talk about Clint struggles to kind of just move on because we're introduced to the fact that he's going deaf. He
Mhm.
has to wear a hearing aid, which it's a great plot element because it ties into Echo and it heroes with disabilities. We know another major one that
That was
you know
heavily rumored to be showing up, and one of the other
yep,
rumors turned out to be very true.
very true. So I like the humor in this. Haley Steinfeld, is it Steinfeld or
Perfect. Yeah.
Steinfeld?
I think
Steinfeld.
she is. They say it's 9. I think.
Steinfeld. I think she's phenomenal in this. I like the role she's playing of the confused young hero, the not reluctant but the fan struck hero, but without being overly goofy. She does have goofy moments because she's completely new. Like she's never tested herself out there as a vigilante until episode 1. Literally into episode 1 she has to reluctantly become a vigilante, but she's trained all of her life, which is just like the Kate Bishop character in the comics. She comes from a wealthy family, and she emulates after seeing. And I really liked how they tied in that first scene to the Avengers movie, her witnessing, Hawkeye saving people and fighting the aliens. I thought that was really cool. Um, Overall, the cast's great. I do think there is a little bit much on the humor, but I get why because
It's
it
about to get
really
heavy.
should.
So
It's about to get real heavy in the last 2 episodes. It has to because of all the stuff, the foundation we've laid in here. So we're into episode 4. We get reintroduced to Yelena Belova, who is, the foster sister or quasi sister of Natasha Romanoff. So she's the next Black Widow in the comics. Obviously, we're steering towards something of that nature. Either she's going to be in Thunderbolts or she's going to take over the hero Avenger moniker of Black Widow. We don't know yet, but she shows up at the end here. I thought Maya, the lady, the actress they cast as Maya Lopez slash Echo, I thought she's great because it's a very tough role to play. Because I think people forget not only is she deaf, but she also is disabled. She doesn't. She has only one leg. And she's learned to fight. And I think they do a really good job because it's the little nuances, like when she's walking. I don't know if you noticed it, Warburg, but when she's walking down the steps in that hideout to go see them, you could tell she has a struggle to walk down the steps because she has one artificial leg. Little nuances like that, I'm like, okay, kind of. It's the same thing with Charlie Cox playing Daredevil. The little nuances of him where he does a great job of playing a blind character when he's Matt Murdock, but then when he's Daredevil, really selling, like, and that's how the comic book character is. He really sells the fact that he's not blind. He has to sell that to not give away a disadvantage. So I really like the little nuances they did with her there. I think it's great, man. I really enjoy it. Like I said, there's just too much here for 2 more episodes. Let's say they're both 40 minutes, so we got about 80 minutes left of the
I
show.
think they're gonna have to bump it up to a 50.
One of them at least, like maybe episode 5, because we're talking about apparently
We still
episode
don't know the
5
big bad. Not really.
well, I
I
think
think I
we're
know
gonna get
what
it.
who it's gonna be.
Yeah, because in episode for the beginning of episode 4, we get the voice, we get the look, the hand, and we get the suit. Come on, it's D'Onofrio. We know his
I
voice.
actually don't know. I think he's just gonna pop up. I don't think he's the
Okay, so
bad guy.
you think that's a red herring then, or a
Or who the
misdirect?
big bad is.
Who the big bad is? Okay,
His connection to Maya is what's going to lead into Echo the show, which is
okay.
where Daredevil is
Yep,
going to show up more. I think
yep.
Daredevil, much like Elena here, Daredevil's just going to show up. If he shows up, not going to be a main part of the finale. Same with Kingpin. I think that's good. They're going to tie off Echo first,
Okay,
and then the Kingpin Daredevil stuff. It's like, oh hey, go watch Echo the show, right?
okay.
Like
So
that's
who?
they're going to tie that off.
Okay, well, you know how these things work. There has to be a big reveal.
It's
So
the
who do you think the
mom.
big bad is? Yep, I'm thinking the mom too.
You don't
I'm thinking the
cast
mom.
her and just
Yeah,
have her be the mom.
just be a supporting character, right?
Right? Like, and by the way, before we go any further, of course, spoilers, but if you're watching this, you don't give a shit. So
Yep, yep,
it's all on the table.
yep.
Um, but yeah, it's got to be the mom. I think the dad, Jack, his character doesn't even realize
Yeah,
she's the bad guy,
yeah. I think so too.
and I think he's gonna help at the end. Maybe sacrifice himself.
Yeah,
Maybe help save Kate, and then they
yep.
form a bond, and like he helps continue her training after she parts ways with Clint, because clearly Jack
Okay.
has training, like he knows what he's doing, and he has
Yep,
connections in that world that he can help her
yep.
while by being a good guy. Like he genuinely does seem like he's the good guy, and he's just getting duped into like, oh, maybe she asked him to be the CEO, and now he's the face of the bad guys when he's
Okay.
just, I got asked to do it by my fiance, so of course I said yes. You know, that kind of thing. And she runs a security company. Come on, you know she's dealing both sides. She's
Yeah.
definitely the bad guy.
Now, how bad is she? Is she Kingpin bad, or is she secretly trained in the
I think
arts of
she's
like?
working with Kingpin, and that's the reveal at the end.
Okay, that's
Is she gets outed as the bad guy. Her and Kate, have the falling out, and then she has to go report to the boss. Right?
yeah.
Like you find out, oh, she's not the boss. There's a boss above
Okay.
her, and that's who Ronan was going after, and it's Kingpin.
And I think that Jack's uncle, is that who it was that was killed? His uncle
Yes,
or his dad? That was his
or
uncle,
it was
right?
his uncle.
I think that argument. This is my thought: is that you're right. I've been thinking about this. That the argument that they had that Kate saw was basically him telling her he found out that she's working with Kingpin.
Something
That
like that. Yeah.
she's working with Fisk, and he confronts her about that. And so to protect herself, she kills him.
Yes.
That's what I think is happening. Now the weird thing is that how are we going to do in wrestling terms a face turn for Echo here, because we've cemented her for 2 episodes that she is a bad guy, a street level bad guy. Like, how do we do that? Because she obviously was out there trying to kill Barton and Kate. Like, what is her redemption? Where's her redemption come from? That's the tough
I
part.
think it's going to maybe come at the same time as Elena's. Like
Okay,
Clint's going to have to tell them that he was Ronan and this is what happened, right? And he's going to explain what happened, and Echo's going to realize how broken he is about it, and that killing him won't do
her
anything
dad
for her.
killing, but I mean, but still, he killed her dad. That's
Yeah.
like her life's been built around her. Her
Or
adult life's been built around the fact that
or
revenge for killing her
flip
dad.
it, Elena saves Clint and like tells Echo just walk away, right?
Yeah,
Because I think maybe Elena realizing that like what happened, because she doesn't know, she's been lied to.
yeah.
Like she really doesn't have a reason to want to kill Clint. And when she finds out, she's gonna be like, well, wait, you were her best friend, so yeah, I'm gonna help you now. Like she seems like the easiest to flip once she knows
Yeah.
what's going on. And once
Well,
they know who she is too.
here's the other thing: is that this is my question. Does Clint know who she is, or does he just know she's a Black Widow based off of her wrist or her stunner wrist
That's so
gun?
far, because I don't think he got a good look at her face. I think once
Okay,
they meet, he's gonna realize who she is.
okay,
Because I think that's what's gonna get her to listen to him, is that like, no, Natasha told me about you. Like, she was my
yeah.
best friend. Of course, like she's my kid's aunt. Of course I know who you are.
I already know what's gonna happen. He's gonna whistle, the whistle from Black Widow. Like, remember, that sounds like something Natasha would like kind of let him in on that little inside bit of detail, and that'll kind of have her realize, okay, I need to listen to the guy, listen to what he has to say.
Hmm. And I think Kate might be the one that gets through to Echo more than Clint.
That's possible, yeah, because we now have Yelena and we now have Maya as two confrontational units here fighting them. It makes sense to split up Kate and Clint now to resolve those two characters. Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes sense.
because
It makes sense.
Maya's the one taking all the notes. I could see
Yep.
her going after Kate,
Yeah, that's fair.
and then
And
her coming to the
the
realization that I'm gonna kill this kid over nothing.
but while she confronts her at her mom's house, and then that's when they realize that her mom is the bad guy. Like her
Yeah,
mom, like Jack either does something to save her. Like I think a lot's going to happen with Kate really fast. That's the thing.
yeah,
And I think that my biggest issue is like we needed 10 episodes because we have to talk about life after. Like what's going to happen with Clint or his struggles because he obviously has some level of PTSD he's bearing deep down inside. He was I'm sure there's a bit of resentment for the other Avengers because he didn't have superpowers, he didn't have a power suit. He was the guy that was, wearing a leather outfit that lost his hearing because of all the explosions around him. Like he's the one that probably suffered the most out of all the Avengers because he's just a normal guy. There has to be some level of resentment for that, right? I mean, there has to be. That's probably why he doesn't want to address what happened. He doesn't want to talk obviously about what happened with Natasha because he was on a distant planet,
and he watched his best friend kill herself.
die die
Like
for the universe. When he tried to do it, she undercut him for it. Um, there's a lot there, and I think that really we could have had a couple of Clint episodes where Kate's out doing some investigative work, but Clint's really doing his kind of a little external therapy on the show to kind of really gauge that. Who knows, man? We may be getting a season 2. I don't know. And if we do, I'd like that to be explored a little bit because I'm sure there's a lot there to unearth with Clint. There's a lot there. There's a
yeah,
lot.
especially
Um,
as and then you on the Kate side, like following her like formal training, like does she join the like a reformed shield, right?
yeah,
Like you could explore a lot of that kind of spy side of the world with her character and
yeah,
Elena's if they were able to lock get Florence Pugh to be like, yep, I'm in for a show instead of just movies. 'Cause
yeah,
that's a bigger commitment in time, and she's pretty in demand. So if they can
yeah.
get that and like maybe have them team up on something, that'd be cool. I'd watch the shit out of that.
So there's just a whole lot going on, man. I mean, we got
Yeah, like there's a
potentially
lot
Clint
of
showing up.
threads that I hope they're gonna be able to tie off succinctly, but it's gonna be tight. Like two
Yeah,
episodes
yeah,
left. Like, yeah, it feels rushed, but you gotta always see how they stick the landing before you judge it.
yeah,
Like um and because the MCU shows are in a weird spot because unlike Daredevil season 1, the introductions matter less.
yeah.
Because a lot of the characters we know in a
Yeah,
lot of
that's true.
ways.
That's
They
true.
have to thread that needle of who's watched what, who knows what, who's a first comer, who's a hardcore. Whereas like the Daredevil Netflix stuff never did. It was all intro for season 1, which is why it's so good because they nailed it all.
Yeah,
The MCU shows on Disney Plus, again, different bag. Like even Echo is a spin-off show. Like they're all
yeah,
spin-offs more than original like characters. Miss
yeah.
Marvel's probably gonna be the closest we get to an original, and She-Hulk.
Well, Moon Knight.
Plus Moon
Moon
Knight.
Knight.
Yeah, but I think the other two come first, right?
Yeah,
It's
Moon Knight's
Marvel and
coming
Miss
probably.
Marvel and She-Hulk, and then Moon Knight, and then
Yep,
Echo.
yep. And then Echo.
So
Yep.
like those next three are new stuff. Like, but even She-Hulk's gonna have Banner in it, right?
Yeah.
Like Miss Marvel doesn't seem like she will have major connections. Like whether that be the A-list Avenger, like through Wanda or Clint or like a Loki. So she's all gonna be like new.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that one gets reviewed versus something where we're taking all these threads we've already put in from the movies into shows
Mhm.
versus something almost all new because I think I know explain the Terrigen stuff in humans, like that's all new unless you watched Agents of Shield, which not many people of the main movie going audience really did because it was
Yeah.
only on one network and then Netflix. So
Yep.
that was a much more niche thing. This is going to be the Disney Plus big show. I'm curious how that goes, but given how well the finales have gone for their other shows, WandaVision notwithstanding because of the weird COVID stuff,
Yeah.
like it was you could tell, oh, you shot this in the middle of COVID, and the part of this episode was not. Like you could feel it,
Well, same thing with Falcon and Winter
and that
Soldier.
was
There was a whole
all cut to hell because of
yeah.
COVID.
So because of COVID, there was a whole a virus subplot that was
They
removed.
just excised it, which is an
Yeah.
incredible editing feat that they did it so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that shit should have won awards for editing just for that.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to be like, oh hey, like Emmys and Oscars and stuff. Here's the original cut. Here's what aired. Tell me we shouldn't win an award for how well that got
Yeah,
edited.
because of how they were executed at without it feeling like the plot was suffering at all
Yeah,
from it. Yeah, they
like
just
it dragged a
you never
bit, but
even
like
yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
really notice beyond 2 or 3 things which are not editable around. So like that was great. But Loki's finale was dope.
Yeah,
That was
yes, it was.
great finale. If this is anything approaching that level, we're talking about this as like I said earlier, we're talking about this on the level of Daredevil seasons 1, 2, 1 and 3 and Punisher 1. Like
Yeah.
it's right up there. Plus Jessica Jones. Like season 1
Well,
was dope.
here's my biggest concern. I'm gonna circle back to what I brought up earlier. We're gonna get obviously D'Onofrio as Kingpin
Yes.
in some regard. We're gonna get Daredevil, Cox as Daredevil, whether it be just a brief fighting scene where he helps out or something's gonna happen where he comes in. We're obviously we both know we're gonna see Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in Spider-Man. So we're gonna get a double dose of Matt Murdock within like a couple of
Yeah.
weeks from each
And we
other.
know he's in Echo. Like that we know.
Yep. We know he is going to be the centerpiece of Echo. Let's be real.
He's going to be
She
the
and
big
him,
marketing push is the return of
yeah,
Charlie Cox's Daredevil in true
mhm,
form.
in true form. Here's my problem with that. But we both loved season 1 and 3 of Daredevil. Season 2 isn't awful, but it
It's
got a
just
little weird.
mishmash.
It got weird. John Barathol was bar none the best part of season
Fuck
2
yeah.
as
That first half
Punisher.
of season 2
Fucking,
is
he's just
perfect.
amazing. We cannot have Daredevil on Disney Plus, man. We
No,
cannot
I don't
have
think they're gonna. In terms
Hulu.
of making him
Hulu?
as the centerpiece, like I think Echo, he's going to be the mentor character, much like Clint is here. You
No,
know.
what I mean is the Daredevil show when we restart
Oh,
it,
I don't know if
it
he's even going to
cannot.
get a show.
Well, no, they've announced. Feige announced this week that he is returning into the MCU, but we haven't heard anything else. We don't know, and
I don't know if he's going to get a proper show or if he's just going to be the guy that shows up as the badass.
yeah,
You know, like Ninja Coulson.
which is cool. I mean, we definitely need more Coulson. We need
And it's
more
certainly
Coulson involved.
easier on Charlie Cox because that's not an easy role to play physically.
No, it's
Like
not,
you
and
get beat up doing that shit.
he's hitting 40
He's
now,
getting
isn't he? I think
close
he's
if he's
getting
not
close.
already.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it'd be cool to just. I want more Daredevil.
Everybody
But
does.
to have his own show on Disney Plus and it not be the same as the Netflix because Netflix
Now
they're
you say
unrated.
that, but Loki had some dark stuff.
It's not necessarily the dark stuff. It's just the dialogue is open to just be free,
Yeah, like
in New York,
Disney's gonna
like New York.
have a much tighter rein on like how they just the character dialogue.
Yeah,
You know, like no one's gonna be out here swearing like an actual New Yorker.
no,
You know,
and we did. That's how. But that's how it was in Daredevil, and
yeah,
that's how it was in Jessica
like
Jones
that's why it
and in
was
Luke
so
Cage.
just it was just real. Like that's how
Yeah,
it felt.
yep, exactly. So I'm gonna have a hard time if they PG up a Daredevil show, if they PG up a Jessica Jones show. Now, if they want to promote
Alias
an adult,
Investigations would work if that was the hook of the
it,
show.
yeah,
If that was the
yeah, but
hook.
not, yeah, but not Jessica Jones as
No,
how it
as how
was
it
in
was on
Netflix,
Netflix. No.
because that was a very raunchy show, especially the
Yes.
first season.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I think that now the only thing with Jessica Jones is you could put that on Hulu to really spice
If they
up
wanted
the
to, if
subs
they
up
really
there.
wanted to make a push
Yeah.
for like putting better shit on Hulu, that's where it goes. But let's get back to Hawkeye.
Okay, but Hawkeye. Okay,
Less tangents in the
so
in the in the
yeah.
in the in the main block. Less
So
tangents.
your feelings. We're done with mine. What are your feelings?
Well, I've been peppering mostly mine in, so I don't have a ton else to add. But I really do enjoy the show. Like I said earlier, it's probably right below like the top of Daredevil for me, where we got because like the action's been great. Like that Clint fight scene in episode 3. That's some dope shit.
Yeah,
The Pym
yeah.
arrow. Are you kidding me? Awesome. So cool. I love that they went there. And like they're riffing off of the best Hawkeye run ever. Right? In the oh god, I'm blanking on his name. Who's the writer? The guy that did
Matt
the run.
Fraction.
The
Matt Fraction.
fraction run, right? Like
The Fraction
Lucky
run.
the Pizza Dog. They brought
Yep.
up the boomerang arrows, which you know we're gonna see.
We're gonna see it.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
see a
see it.
great boomerang arrow, and they're flipping it
Yeah.
because in the comics it's Clint being like, "Well, I want an arrow that comes back to me," right? And then he pulls shoots it. You missed. Did I? And it knocks the guy out. And then the classic turn to her, boomerang arrow, that kind of thing. You know that's gonna happen, but be flipped with
Yeah.
Kate. I'm in. She's gonna nail that, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be so cool. Like, I love that we slowed down in episode 4 because we're right,
Okay.
like we said earlier, it's kind of the slow it down right before the big finale where it's all going to be rush and banging in your face.
Yep.
You got to slow down before that.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, you took a little slower week because the content stuff's coming. It's the deep breath before the plunge. Like you gotta
Well, yeah,
reset, you
because
gotta recenter, refocus on
yeah.
your main themes, your
Yeah.
main, personal connections between your two heroes, and then throw shit at the wall. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
we know 5 is going to be the penultimate episode is the most important one because the final episode is always the wrap up, right? We know
yes.
that. A large chunk of the final episode is going to be wrap up, so we know episode 5 is the balls to the wall episode. That's where shit gets crazy. We know that. So we know next Wednesday is where a lot of plot holes potentially get resolved, but we're going to have a lot of storyline movement
Yeah,
in
because
episode
and from the
5.
marketing, the ice rink scene hasn't happened yet.
Yep, it's true.
And
It's
that there was
true.
a whole lot of bodies in that scene. So
Yep. Yep.
for my money, where we were talking about Daredevil showing up, the end is going to be that the ice rink. They're going to be kicking ass, taking names, but they're going to run out of arrows. They're going to get overwhelmed. Daredevil shows up, right? Like if he's going to show up anywhere that's not in a fight with Echo to
Okay.
tie off that arc, he's just going to help them out of a jam. Peace the fuck out, right? Because he's kind of an antisocial hero. They're gonna
Mhm.
be like, "What the fuck is that?" Now she might know. Kate Bishop might know who he is because
Yeah.
she's a New Yorker, right? So she would know who he is. And then Clint's gonna be like, "I'm from fucking Iowa. I don't know who he is." I would like confirmation he's from Iowa, by the way, because the Hawkeye moniker is because it's the Hawkeye state. And he's from in canon Waverly, Iowa, which is actually where I went to college. Wartburg College is in Waverly, Iowa. Like, I would like confirmation his farm's in Iowa. We've never gotten that, and it's weird. Like, just say it's Iowa.
But remember, that is a off the grid place.
Yeah.
Why would it be in the same state that he's from though? That would be kind of
Well, I mean, it's also like there's a shitload of middle of nowhere in southern Iowa. Like,
That's true.
you
That's
don't
true.
get more middle of nowhere than southwestern Iowa. Like,
That's true.
goddamn.
That's true.
But that's beside the point. It's just a little
Yeah.
critique of me as an
No,
Iowan.
I
I'd
got
like
you.
to
I got
know. I'd like to know he's like the most famous fictional Iowan. Because in the comic stuff he is. But we do lay claim to Brandon Routh and Jason Momoa, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because his grandma's from Des Moines. But anyway, that's random tangent. That's as long down that road as I will go. What else did I have on my notes that we haven't talked about? We talked about my thoughts on the red herring with I think the bad guy is the mom. Jack's
Yeah.
actually going to be a good guy and help
Yep.
out Kate with her training. Talked about Kingpin will be set up, but only briefly, which I think he's who she's working with.
Sure.
Like you said, that subplot gets kicked off because Armand finds out that's who she's working with.
Yep.
I just also one of my big notes in bold was Haley Steinfeld is perfect casting.
Yep. I
Like,
agree.
and her and Florence Pugh. That's why I want to show with them is because it's perfect casting. Like she's Kate Bishop to a T. Florence Pugh as like Black Widow's younger sister. Like she stole the movie in that
Yeah,
movie.
she was funny. She was
Her
funny.
cast like counterpart as like she's a spy, like she knows what she's doing, that kind of character, but is the same age as the rookie. Like their chemistry would be amazing. Like give us that show. Like make it happen, right? That'd be awesome. That's really all I had other than like slow down before the big push. And we'll see if the other rumors with Kingpin and Daredevil come true because the Elena one really did. I did not expect her to show up even as brief as she did in 4. I thought she was a later game cliffhanger with Clint reveal.
You thought her reveal was going to be at the back end of the show.
I thought it was the cliffhanger post credits.
Okay.
Clint
Okay.
goes home and she's there.
Okay.
Like that's what I thought we were gonna get. Until I saw the stuff with her with her like night vision thing. Once we
Yeah.
saw the photos from that last week, yeah, that's her. We kind of figured
Yeah.
that. But going into the show's run, I thought she was a late game, throwaway, not really impacting the story beyond where Clint goes next. So I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, I think that about wraps up my thoughts on it. What about you? Anything else you want to add?
I just am really happy with how they've executed this show. I thought Jeremy Renner's been great.
Yeah, understated
Haley's,
as usual.
yep, yeah. I mean, just uh, I think with Age of Ultron, which as it ages, it gets better and better. Like I know it's gotten a lot of crap, Age of Ultron, but I thought that he was
Some
great
of
in
it
Age of
doesn't. The
Ultron.
Joss Whedonness of it doesn't, but that's because it's Joss
Yeah,
Whedon.
yeah. I
But
think
like the
that's
Clint stuff really does.
well. Hey, look, 2012 Avengers. It's a Whedon movie. We have to get over it, and it's a really good movie. Like I know he's an asshole, he's a piece of shit, but
Also a
it was a
simpler
great movie.
movie.
Yeah,
Avengers was not
very
used
true.
to set up. Avengers was set up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Whereas
Hey,
Ultron was setting up a second phase, which is like, oh, this is why
mm,
it creaks so much at the
yep.
seams.
I gotta say this though, I'm really happy that we got at least two so far Ant-Man references on the show.
Yes.
One at the very beginning, like she's like, "Dad, like why he wasn't there? He wasn't there. Like, why the fuck is Ant-Man dancing? Like, who decided Ant-Man was going to be at the Battle of New York?" But then then we get the Pym Arrow, which is great as
That was
well.
such a great
Which
reveal. God,
that
so
does
cool.
that does make me kind of question though, because how do people not know that Hawkeye's around? Because there's a giant fucking arrow on the bridge now. Like, how do they not know that? Because who's gonna clean that up?
I assume he's got a reversal thing for it.
But remember, they took off. That arrow they
Maybe it's
left
got a
unless it's
reverse,
timed. Maybe
like a
maybe it's got
timed.
like a timer on it. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, that's possible. But I'm just
It,
like I
it,
was
it
thinking about
was
that today.
weird. Like, yeah, I kind of cracked a bridge in half with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
What?
But
Like,
let's just go ahead and go like let's just we have all of these chases and explosions all through the main parts of New York, but it's not going to be in the media, like the city's not going to be on lockdown, like it's just like oh at this point they're like, it's not aliens, fuck it, we're good, like we're
yeah,
like it's
that would
just
have been a great commentary.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
they used some newscasts for commentary.
yep,
That would have been a
yep.
great talking head moment of where like they're talking about this and the traffic guy's like wanting to talk about this. He's like, I'm in the chopper. There's a giant arrow. Are there aliens? Is Thor flying around? Okay, moving on. Right?
Yeah.
Like go to a sports
So
story or
business as
something.
usual in New York at
Like
rush
that would
hour.
have been a
So, yeah,
great commentary on the state of the universe.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
Because
that's
there's a lot of
hindsight.
it's a very tongue in cheek show. There's been a lot of tongue in
Yeah.
cheek like comments throughout the entire show, so that probably would have made a lot of sense. But yeah, I was thinking about this, this morning. I'm like, man, there's just this giant arrow sitting on the bridge after that, after
Yeah.
this
And
big
he
chase
cut
scene.
it in half.
Half of like, yeah, like they have to shut down the bridge for integrity
That's
purposes.
billions
I was
of
like, eh.
millions of dollars to fix. Like,
But other than that, look, man, it's a great show. I've had fun. I can't wait for next Wednesday because, like you said, I think there's a lot that's going to take place. A lot that's going to happen in that fifth episode.
yeah, it's gonna be nuts.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking forward
I
to it.
want I want a season 2 of Hawkeye. I do. I
Yeah,
want.
I think there's enough there, depending on, of course, where characters end up, how much they
Yeah.
tie off, how much they leave on the line,
Yep.
for future stories. But this is the perfect kind of character for a show versus a movie, right?
Yep.
Because you can explore so many. I don't want to say seedier, but like more underbelly side of the universe. The street
Yep.
level stuff works as a as a
Yep.
series. It
That's
just
why I'm
works.
excited for Armor Wars because that is like a street level type of Marvel show, and I have a feeling it's going to be very good.
Yeah, like I think they're cracking this code of like, no, we can make cool shit as a series.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping HBO is taking notice of like, we should make a series. That'd be dope. Because they're kind of halfway doing it with Superman and Lois. That's
Yep.
HBO funded and premiering on HBO Max, but it's mostly a CW property because of the casting.
Give me a Hellblazer show on HBO Max. Come on,
Are
guys.
you kidding me?
It's
How
not that hard.
amazing would a Hellblazer with back in like 2014 Matt Ryan have been?
Yeah.
Are you shitting me? That would have been so cool. He's kind of aging out of the role a little bit. He's been
Yeah.
live action Constantine for damn near 10 years now, which is insane to think about.
Yeah, time flew by for him. It did. It really
But
did.
like,
Yeah.
because he was already, I don't want to say old, but like, he's one of those guys who just looks older than he is,
Yeah.
and that shortens the shelf life. It happens. It's
It
Hollywood.
happened. Yeah.
Anybody's still fucking awesome.
Yep.
That's the weird thing. Legends cast him. He's Legends on Constantine of Legends. He's gone. They just brought him back as a different character. Like he's still on the show as a regular. Only one character, the socialite character that everyone really kind of ignores. She's like she will not let go of the fact that he looks just like Constantine. Everyone else thinks she's full of it. It's such a great running gag. It's so good. Like, to go back, sorry everyone if you're still watching on just the Hawkeye breakout. Fusion went off on a big tangent about Doom Patrol earlier and how they like
Yeah.
kind of go over the line and get kind of meta with the fact that they're a comic book property, but
Yep.
right up to the line.
Yep.
Legends just fucking vaults that line. Like,
Yeah, they do.
they
Yeah,
don't
do.
give a fuck. Like,
Yeah.
if they could be on like an HBO level property and get some money behind their shit, man, Legends knows how meta to get with this shit. It's great. I fucking love that show.
Good stuff, man.
I think once you get through seasons 1, because they didn't know what the fuck it was supposed to be.
It was
Nobody
very
did.
it was very serious in
Yeah.
season 1
Once
1
they
and 2.
once they go himbo with it, where like they
Yeah.
have Ray Palmer turns into a himbo, and then they have Steel, who's like Nate, who shows up, and he's just supposed to be a genius, but he's a fucking idiot, right? Who
Yeah.
just looks good. Once those two guys show up and start their chemistry, fuck, it's great. It becomes one of the best shows they've ever put out. It's so good. And Matt
All right,
Ryan's
man.
awesome. That's what I'm
Matt,
trying
yeah.
to say is Matt Ryan's amazing.
Matt Ryan is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that's a show that should have been done years ago on HBO Max. But anyway, I'm
Yeah,
really
we're
excited
wrapping
about
up. We're
Hawkeye.
wrapping up.
Let's wrap this up. Let's do this.
I
Come
gotta
on.
get Halo. I gotta get to Halo.
Let's go.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're on Twitch, if you're on any of our podcast feeds, subscribe, leave a review, let us know what you think of the show. If there's a comment field, wherever you're listening or watching this to, it's always kind of cool to see those things. So, like I said, if you're watching this after the fact, we do stream this live over at twitch.tv/MrWartburg. If you're on a platform where I can have an actual link to it, the links will be there. You can check us out. We try to stream every other week. December will be roughly 1 a week because there's a lot of content to get through. Plus, January is going to be kind of tight too, as kind of we wrap things up. Like, I might want to do a specific Expanse one-off episode again as the Expanse wraps up season 6. We got Boba Fett coming. We got Peacemaker coming. There's a movie that's coming that I'm also like, I want to watch that, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. It's gonna be a good time. I can't wait to see what we have to talk about because, man, there's some dope shit coming.
Yeah, there is.
I'm excited.
Yes.
So, of course, you can also follow us on our individual Twitter channels where we talk shop about movies and games and shows a lot, plus a fair amount of sports talk, I'll be honest. And I'm a big Hawkeye fan, and Fusion's a big Texas sports fan, so we banter a lot on there. I'm at MrWartburg. He's at It's Mr. Fusion. Check us out there. See ya, and I guess, we'll see you next week or whenever we record one of these next. Bye.